Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're glad to have everyone tuning in from Ireland, from Nigeria, to have you guys. My name is Samuel Yakura, and I'll be your host for this evening, and you're officially welcome to the Soulfood. So we decided that, or we thought it was important to start having, warm conversations around mental health and where it meets with faith, especially for those of us in the Black Irish community. We live in an age, or at least for me as a millennial, growing up in the digital age, or, the age where we have just so much information to deal with, ramping up, the things you need to be thinking about, things happening around in the world, stress, worry, anxiety, and all of these things that we just have to deal with on a daily basis. So it's really important that we have conversations that, remind us again and again the need to take care of our minds. And so we thought it wise, to put together this show. And we have an amazing lineup for you guys this evening. We have our in-house poets who will be, sharing their perspective on the subject. We have some very, very polished keynote speakers, Grace Oladipo and Nengi. And we also have limit breakers who will be leading us in worship and just setting the atmosphere for us to have this conversation this evening. So I'd like you to just sit back, relax, have a nice cup of coffee or anything you'd like to be sipping on, as you journey with us this evening. So just to start off the night, I'll be inviting limit breakers up the stage as they, get us started. You can give them a round of applause from your sitting room. Thank you, guys. So they'll be doing a song, Love Theory. If you guys know the song, you can all join in from your sitting rooms with your families and friends. And let's have a good time this evening. Thank you very much. I remain Samuel Yakura, your host for the evening.
And welcome to Soulfood. You know that this last chapter is going to be better than this chapter. All the way around. Sing with us. Like, can you think the most unlovable part of me, of me, of me? How can you see what? 'Cause the only gift I'll ever need to be free, to be free. It's amazing with you. I win even if I lose. Everything's working for my go far away. Tell me what he did. Come on. No greater love makes my heart beat for the rest of our lives. All I wanna do is make you proud of me. I don't wanna love. We're gonna teach you a little dance. So just do it with us. I don't wanna love nobody but you. I don't wanna love nobody but you. I don't wanna love nobody but you. I don't wanna love nobody. Just do it in your sitting room. Loving you will be. Loving you will be. Jesus will be the best of me. And that's how it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be. More of you. More of you. Less of me. I don't wanna love. I don't wanna love nobody but you. Tell him. I don't wanna love nobody but you. I don't wanna love nobody but you. Just tell the Lord. I don't wanna love nobody but you. I don't wanna love nobody but you. I don't wanna love nobody but you. Just tell me what he did. He will come through. Immortal, that's not what superheroes do. No greater love. rest of our lives. All I wanna do is make you proud of me. He saved the day. He will come through. Go. He will never know what superheroes do. No greater love makes my heart beat. Tell the Lord, all I wanna do is make you proud. I don't wanna love. Just tell the Lord. If you're right there in your sitting room, in your bedroom, just do this little dance with us. I don't wanna love. Come on. I don't wanna love nobody but you. I don't wanna love nobody but you. Now make it bounce. I don't wanna love nobody but you. I don't wanna love nobody but you. I don't wanna love nobody but you. I don't wanna love. I don't wanna love nobody but you. I don't wanna love nobody but you. I don't wanna love nobody but you. We love you, Lord. Welcome to Soulfood. Yeah!
Thank you so much, guys. What a way to start the evening. I don't want to love anybody but you. There are a lot of things you're not sure of, but the one thing you can be sure of is God's love for you. And what better way to start the evening on that note. So yeah, let's keep ramping up and let's keep driving the show further. So I have someone very, very exciting to bring up stage. He's one of Dublin's finest poets. He's also a member of the We Are Griot collective. And he'll be starting off the evening for us in poetry with 2 poems, River and Headphones. And so if there's any time you really want to, to make sure the kids are not running around so you don't miss a line, it would be now. So join me from your sitting rooms as we welcome Dagogo Heart.
Every tornado is a violin playing. Take me to the river. I wanna go. The skeleton of every raging storm is an orchestra of rivers overflowing with blood and sin from all the times I've tried to wash myself clean. So being planted by the river doesn't help much anymore, but I hear there is something of a Jordan to your tears. I hear there is something of a white to your blood. So take me to the river, dip me in your smooth waters. I hear you have experience with bloody hands. I hear there's holes in your hands where the nails used to be. I have a few holes myself. And all the super glue music doesn't keep the rain from coming in. Surrender to the good Lord, and you wipe your slate clean. Been walking this road for so long now, with nothing but the fading echo of mother's voice and this faulty compass of her heart to guide me. Most days, I just follow the sound of moving water, hoping to find a river to just go with the flow or find you. So on those days, When the sun is nowhere to be found and 2 stars in the night sky, I only dare to remind you that west might as well be a million miles away. You allow me to sink. You allow baptism. You got the violin strings at the center of all my raging storms and give me peace.
Take me to the river. I wanna go, wanna go, wanna go.
You give me peace.
I wanna go, wanna go, wanna go.
Give me peace.
I wanna go, wanna go, wanna go. Take me to the river. I wanna go.
I haven't been sad in a while. Some days I miss it. On those days, I let Shane put the weight of the world on my shoulders, and I remember all of you. From shoes that will never fit to you that tries to convince me that death will be the best poem I will ever write. I put the headphones in search of new poems in old songs like Chance's first album, and how the words don't always have to make love to the rhythm. Sometimes you can just kiss it, and isn't that the best metaphor for what life is? I put the headphone in and Afrobeats is playing. My body doesn't know how to not move, and for a few minutes I am a low tide of crashing waves of emotion, turning all this ocean blue to heaven white. At least a moving body is not dead. You are alive. Sadness cannot be your gratitude. I put the headphones in search of a new favorite poet. I find Kojak hanging somewhere between summer's breeze and fallen leaves. He, a melting ice cream cone waiting for winter to be whole again. I have learned that sometimes the cold is what keeps us strong. I put the headphone in. Spotify suggests Nego True when the technology learned melancholy. Put the headphones in and crank up the volume. Still all I hear is my voice. Shane, Chance, Kojak, Nego might as well be fractured fragments of a broken soul. See, I have learned that sometimes sadness is a poet's playground, and I came with pen, paper, and an all black Lego set looking to build dark clouds. I put the headphones in. He took the headphones out. Sometimes I miss it.
Come and raise it up to Jesus today. Hey. It's never failing. We're going to do that again. We say, He's intentional. Oh, da, 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 da. Yeah. All right. We say that all things are working for my good. Do you believe that in house? He's intentional. Yeah, never failing. I know that all things are working for my good. Yeah, He's intentional. Yeah, never failing. Sing that. is intentional. Hey, and it's never failing. Hey, all things are working for my good. Said it's intentional. Said it's never failing. Hey, all things are working. Hey, we said that all things are working for my good. I said that all things are working for my good. Yeah, all things are working for my good. We say, oh, 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 oh. Said it, oh, oh, oh. Said it, oh, oh, oh. Said, oh. Said I, oh, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah. Here's my part, it says. Who said I don't have to worry cause he's working for me. Yeah, yeah, he's working for me. And I believe he's working for me. Said I can hold my head up, say I don't have to worry. We said it, he said it's working for me. So we trust and believe. Say I don't have to worry, God said it's working for me. So we trust and believe. Said I can't believe it. Sing it one more time. I don't have to worry. Said it's working for me. Said it's working for me. Yeah. Said I can hold my head up. Said he's intentional. Said that he's intentional. Said that he's intentional. Hey, and it's never failing. Said he is. Said that he's intentional. Said that he's intentional. Hey, he's never failing. We sing it one more time. We say. Said that he's intentional. We said that he's intentional. Hey. Oh, 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 oh. Sing it one more time.
Wow. Wow. I don't know about you guys watching at home, but we haven't even had the first conversation yet. We've just had a few ministrations, and Agogo came up. It's already becoming a very full evening. God is intentional. God is intentional about you. He's intentional about your mind. He's intentional about your mental health. And someone would ask me a question, well, you know, where does faith and mental health meet? What's the relationship? And I say, God made you. He made your mind. Who knows better about you than your manufacturer? And if God is intentional about you, then you should also be intentional, you know, about your mental health and, you know, everything that concerns you. Thank you so much, Dagogo Heart, for those poems, River, and headphones. It really resonates with me, and I'm sure it does with you as well. Thank you so much to Limit Breakers. God is intentional. So now we would be having a very interesting conversation by a group called Open Circle. I've listened to these guys for a while, and they're just a group of young adults who love God and who love having these kind of conversations. And they'll be talking to us for just a few minutes on their perspective, regarding mental health. And I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy this next part of the show. Thank you very much.
Open Circle. I'm Precious and I'm here with
Snowden.
David.
And Aurelia.
So today we're going to be having a conversation about mental health in the Black Christian community.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's something, if I was going to be very honest, mental health is something is massively overlooked. From my experience of African churches, I always refer back to the time where one of the youths asked a question on a piece of paper, kept herself anonymous, and said why I'm sad and I don't know how to deal with it. And the response that they got was,
Why are you sad?
Why are you sad? It's because of your phones. You know what I mean? If you have Jesus, you shouldn't be sad. And it's one of those things where I feel like if you give that answer to somebody at a very maybe impressionable age, they have that sort of view of the church, and it's like, I'm not going to go to church to help in my mental health issues. You get what I'm trying to say?
I don't know. One of the reasons why it might be overlooked as well, because they don't really understand it. And coming from where our parents came from, they had like a go-get attitude. Like, there's no time to be sad. There's no time to be looking and saying, "Oh, look at my life." They just say, "Go, go, go." And I feel sometimes when people don't understand, like, maybe something that's going on, they just tend to not talk about it sometimes. And I feel that's probably, and it's I'm not saying it's right. It's not. We should definitely talk about it in the church, especially because there's a bare youth in the church and they're going through the maddest of things, but parents don't know about it because there's not that connection. There's not that relationship there for them to come and talk to them about it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry, was it not David that was depressed?
Elijah.
Oh yeah, Elijah was
depressed.
depressed. Even Job was depressed.
Was
But you know, like, even in relationship, I feel like, because I remember one time I was studying Job, and I was deep in how like depressed he was. But like all the time when I was growing up in church, when they told me the story of Job, it was like Job went through this, but he stayed with God. Like, he didn't fall. Like, he didn't let it. But he wanted to die. Like, he lost you're not gonna lose everything and just like, oh yeah, but I'll be good. Yeah, I have God. And like, he did stay with God, yes, but he was sad. Like, it's okay. I feel like it's okay to be a Christian and be sad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Those are one of the biggest lies told. Like, once you come to Christ,
Everything
is rosy. Nah, you're gonna go through stuff.
When I was still like a teenager or whatever, it was like you have no reason to be depressed, or you have no bills, you have no responsibility. That's basically what I was taught. Why are you sad?
Yeah.
But you don't realize that even as a child, I think that's even the most fragile you are. Like, you're not strong. Obviously, there's some kids who are probably strong mentally, but I wasn't. Bullying and all that stuff. You're at a stage of your life where you're building, like, you're still becoming, you're still growing. It's like critical stages of your life. So when I was younger, mental health wasn't really a topic. Now it kind of is. But it's kind of annoying how it's like, oh, now you want to talk about how I'm feeling now that I'm a bit older. But all those years of like trauma, wherever, was all ignored. So yeah.
I also think like there's certain things that we can be spiritual about, that just need spiritual dealing with. Yeah, and there's certain things that's just like
practical,
very practical. Like, do you know what I mean?
Talk sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you need to an outlet. You know what I mean? And when you just say pray about it, it's kind of almost dismissive. You know what I mean? Like, yes, don't you think I have been praying? You know what I mean? So.
Probably in college for me. Probably in college. Never heard it in church. Definitely not in church. Definitely not in church. Probably in college, and just the people that are around me, even from like white people. Honestly,
yes, always. I think for me it was in secondary school. There was always mental health week. And they would always like play videos for us of like, or like, remember like one guy, he killed himself or something, and like his mom came in to talk to us. They were always raising awareness about it. That's how I learned about mental health.
When I really learned about it was actually in chapel. Was they brought some dude in, and I think his wife had died and then all his children had died, on it. Yeah, and so he came and you know what? From my African church background, I'm thinking, why are they bringing in a mental health guy for church? Isn't this supposed to be spiritual? But that's probably the one session I remember the most out of every other session, because it's just kind of like, yo, damn, he's a human just like me. We're all, and so it really that's where I first learned about it.
Oh yeah, definitely, most definitely, because that's who you look up to. Like, there's some parents out there that they just say bad things to their kids.
Yeah.
They say, oh, the kid wants to maybe do an activity after school, for example. They say, no, can't read your book. Like, yeah, education is important and all, but there's life outside of school as well. And if you don't let your child branch out and do other stuff, or even saying that you're a failure, why are you doing this, why are you doing that? I think like the words your parents speak to is very important as well, because you're going to remember it for life.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes parents don't realize how big like their words are. Like they might say it in the moment, like how you're feeling, but that thing can like resonate with you for long, and it's so deep.
100%. I think on both sides it's very good. On both sides it's they do have a part to play. So in the negative side and in the positive side, so there's some stuff that they've made us so resilient to, and which it's served as a benefit for me. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And then there's obviously other sides where you're just kind of thinking like, geez, I wish we would have paid more attention to this side of things, and yeah, so they definitely do have a big role to play.
Now that I'm older, I think it's just the pressure of having to kind of have this sorted, or do this, or work, school, all that stuff. So for me now, it's the pressure. But when I was younger, it was more like family issues that they didn't really see would have been an issue. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's actually big.
Like, I think my biggest example would be like when my brother died, and people were like, oh, like pastors and stuff, they were like, what are they saying? That, oh, don't be sad, like, don't cry. They were telling us not to cry, like, why are you crying? He's in a better place or something. Would you have, like, just, I'm like,
allow me to do
like, can you allow me to be sad? Like, that, really, like, annoyed me. Like, we're allowed to be sad. Like, God knows we're going to be sad. Hence why he said, like, he'll give us a peace that surpasses all understanding, because you won't be able to understand it. Like, how am I calm when this storm is going on? Do you know what I mean? So I feel like that's a big thing in the church. They need to, like, let people be expressive and let people know that it's okay to feel this way.
How would you say you dealt with yours? Like, what's the kind of, if someone's watching, what's the type of method you would use to kind of bring you through those times?
I think like talking to people, like just letting out how I feel, because I feel like balling up is it's not good, because then you just be thinking and overthinking, and you just get yourself into like a bad place. So I feel like talking to people is good, and the word of God as well. Just always going back to the word of God, and like, because the word of God gives reassurance. It's like, just remind you, like, God is there, like he's got you. Like, just committing yourself in the word and talking to people, and just not pretending like, if I'm sad, I'm sad in it. That's how I feel. Yeah.
Maybe one thing that I did go through in an African Christian environment was my church, as I'm a pastor's child. There was a lot of things said about me that were just untrue and just assumptions. So growing up, it was just kind of like, how are you going to make such a judgment if you don't even know me, or just based off my face, or, do you know what I mean? Just because of the position I have in the church, you have these things to say about me. So it was hard for me growing up to get my head wrapped around why just haters, quote unquote haters, and it just hate.
There's a lot of judgment.
You're just gonna hate.
That's what I went through.
Okay, when we talk about jobs and stuff like that, you know what I mean? The all these things involved with it, right? And it's not spoken about at home or in church as well. It's just kind of like, God will give you that job, and it's just kind of like, yo, I'm anxious about this. I'm feeling this way about this, and so it doesn't really focus on how you are feeling. it just kind of focuses on what God is going to do for you. And I feel like the way I had to deal with it, yes, it's through the word of God as well, but it's actually just through speaking to people and having people who are like-minded and people who go through the same thing as me and saying like, yo, bro, do you feel this same way? And he's saying, yeah. And it's a moment of vulnerability, and it's a moment of like, okay, that's healing starts there. And so I feel like the way I've been able to deal with it, actually with my brothers and my sisters, is actually by sharing, even like open circle, just kind of like hearing people's story and then being able to like express myself through with them as well has really helped me in my the overarching theme that we're gonna bring out is, yo, listen, we here we advocate for speaking out, especially if you're black and you're young and you're a Christian. Just speak out, just talk to each other, speak to somebody who you could trust. Someone who, so my voice cracking. Someone who, yeah, someone who you could trust, and someone you could definitely
having a fellowship or something.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Wow, that was definitely an interesting conversation. A lot of takeaways, honestly. And I think one of the things I really loved about the conversation was just the honesty, the vulnerability, you know, in their conversations and just sharing their experiences. And I think that's what, you know, it really is all about. You know, two things that I really took away. One was something they touched on, which I think is just a major fundamental and foundational issue. It's that a lot of people, the misconception or a misconception that a lot of people have about the gospel is that, you know, when you come to the faith or when you become a Christian, like everything is just going to be perfect. No. God didn't say that you're not going to walk through dark valleys. He said he will be with you. He'll be your rod and your staff. He never said there will be no storms, but he said that he will be with you in the storm and nothing about the storm would affect you, you know. So I think there is that main issue that we need to take care of. So there's this idea that if I'm having mental issues, I'm not Christian enough, or I'm not. No, you're a human being. You're in this body, and this body is fading. It's dying. There's a reason why you're aging, you know. And so our spirits have been saved. Our souls are being saved, and our bodies will be saved. So when we have, you know, the right perception of the gospel, then I think we would be able to take care of a lot of these issues. And I think, secondly, one of the things they really highlighted was the need for family. You know, God raises us in families. He raises us in community. And that's why it's very important that we surround ourselves with the right company, with people that we can have these conversations with, people we feel comfortable around, you know. And that should be a normal thing. It shouldn't be a big deal, whether it's your pastor or it's your friend or it's your family members, you know. It should be normal. We should make these conversations normal between siblings, between, you know. So yeah, I'm really being blessed already, honestly. And I'm really excited to invite this next poet, who is not just one of Dublin's finest poets, but also my very good friend. Dagogo is also my friend, but Dagogo, you know, we are guys, bro code. So Felicia Olusanya, also known as Feli Speaks, will be coming up stage. She'll be doing 2 amazing poems for us all this evening, and she'll be doing it alongside the Limit Breakers one more time. So in our sitting rooms, in your bathrooms, wherever you are, let's give a resounding applause for Feli Speaks and the Limit Breakers. Thank you very much.
She was sad often, The kind of sad that spreads so soft, barely there, but patterned like a floating lace cloth. The kind of sad you didn't understand what it meant. Doily-like, not quite sure what it was supposed to look like, how it should be worn. It didn't hunch over thick and heavy like the gray winter curtains often did in the parlor. It didn't matter in that matter. It didn't serve to be visible. It was hard to notice. Nobody called it out for misplacement. It sort of existed carefully, not disturbing anything but the bridge she tucks her words under, not changing anything but the letters, not upsetting anyone else. So it earned its right to be there, as if that's the way they remember her, lightly veiled, right in the dull wishing for death brown eyes, a sort of hum at the bottom of her accent, the crackle of throat clearing when she hadn't spoken for a long time, except now. The crackle is endless, heard, unnoticed, the silent sadness making her mute, taking her power, has cut off her tongue. Cannot fold my arms and rest, watching lonely wives wrap their head ties so large, filling it with confiscated feelings, hoping truths get knotted and bound on Sunday morning, covering tired dark eyes with white powder and red lipstick. But my dear, what will people say if I unravel my secrets? It's not so bad, at least I look good. Continuing to wrap a parcel of clothing around her waist, linen and lace, concealing footprints above her navel, 5 weeks old. The baby hadn't fully formed yet. She shook her head and her traditional beads clanged without rhythm, joining the noisy depression within her. My dear, God's time is the best. Another baby will come. The car ride was the same every Sunday. Words formed in meaningless conversation through gritted teeth and silent remorse. Trading apologies for cheap compliments. My wife, you look so good today. Our mothers are dancing on Thanksgiving Sunday with bitter stories in their mouths, too afraid to spit it out. Their knees darkened by the weight of prayer. Teaching their daughters the desire for a man is more important. Teaching graduation, girls. But you know you're not getting any younger. And when their daughters recognize new heart bruises, but they say, but you know men are not to be trusted. Sighing, because they remember twinkles in their eyes at the first sign of love. Sighing, because their twinkles have long yet faded. And you're the reminder that maybe love can unravel the secrets she bundles in the privacy of clothing on Sunday morning. So for Mama's sake, find a love that will heal her through your smile. For Mama's sake, find a love that she never had. Thank you.
Hello, it's me again. Okay, if you're suffering from any type of depression, any type of sadness, if you're going through anything in your life, we're here. This song's for you. Come on.
Today's a new day,
But there is no sunshine.
there is no sunshine.
Well,
Nothing but clouds, and it's dark in my heart, and it feels like a cold night.
today's a new day,
Today's a new day,
but Where are the blue skies?
Where are my blue skies?
Where is the love?
Where is the love and the joy that you promised me? Tell me it's alright.
And I'll be honest, I almost gave up.
I almost gave up, but a power that I can't explain.
When the Holy Ghost fire, y'all.
Fell from heaven like a shower.
Come on. Sing it.
I smile, even though I hurt, see I smile. I know God is working, so I smile. Even though I've been here for a while, I smile, I smile. It's so hard to look up when you've been down. Surely hate to see you give up now. You look so much better when you smile, smile.
Do you get us when we say that Jesus has got you? Sing it, guys.
Today's a new day,
But there is the sunshine.
there is no sunshine.
What?
Nothing but clouds and it's dark in my heart and it feels like a cold night.
But Jesus said,
Today's a new day,
look up to the sky.
but where are my blue skies?
Where is the love?
Where is the love and the joy that you promised me? Tell me it's alright.
And I'll be honest with you.
I almost gave up, but a power that I can't
When
explain.
the Holy Ghost fire, y'all.
Fell from heaven like a shower now.
Sing it with us. Come on.
I smile, even though I hurt, see I smile. I know God is working, so I smile. Even though I've been here for a while, I smile, smile. It's so hard to look up when you've been down. Surely hate to see you give up now. You look so much better when you smile,
Smile.
smile for me.
Just give us a little smile at home.
You just smile for me.
We all say,
Smile for me. Can you just smile for me?
and the people say,
Oh, oh, oh. You look so much better when you oh, oh, oh. You look so much better when you oh, oh, oh. You look so much better when you oh, oh, oh. You look so much better when you oh, oh,
and the people say,
You look so much better when you oh,
and we all say,
You look so much better when you oh,
and we all say,
You look so much better when you oh,
and the people say,
You look so much better
and I
when you
almost.
smile. I almost gave up, but a power that I can't explain.
And the Holy Ghost fire.
Fell from heaven like a shower.
Come on.
Right now, I smile, even though I hurt, see I smile. I know God is working, so I smile, even though I've been here for a while. I smile,
Come on, y'all.
I smile. It's so hard to look up when you've been down. I surely hate to see you give up now. You look so much better when you smile.
Jesus loves you, y'all. So just crack a little grin for us,
Oh, oh, oh.
Go.
You look so much better when you oh, oh, oh.
Oh.
You look so much better when you oh, oh,
And the people
oh.
say,
You look so much better when you oh, oh,
and we all
You
say,
look so much better when you oh, oh, oh.
we say,
You look so much better when you oh, oh, oh.
did you know?
You look so much better when you oh, oh, oh.
Did you know?
You look so much better when you oh, oh, oh.
Did you know?
You look so much better when you smile.
Smile. Thank you.
I feel like just taking a moment to soak that in. It's really a lot to take in. It's really a lot to take in. Poetry, the thought process behind the conversations, the songs. And I just hope that you really are encouraged. I hope that it stirs you in all of the right ways. And I was really moved by Felicia's poem, Nne. It just reminds me of how not just our mothers, but just everyone, how every day we keep pouring. We pour emotionally, we pour spiritually, we pour financially, and we forget all of the ways that pouring depletes us and the need to replenish. And that must be an intentional task we embark on every day. You know, every day that we go out, we deplete ourselves, we wear ourselves out. And so mental health is just one of those ways where we intentionally take care of ourselves, find those places where we're depleting and be refilled again. And like Limit Breaker said, one of those ways is to smile. Just be grateful for everything you have. You know, those tough, rocky moments they're passing, they will pass eventually. So thank you guys, thank you Felicia, thank you Limit Breakers, you guys were amazing. Now we are gonna have the second part of the conversation, and by two very, very amazing people who I need to properly introduce, Nengi Benchtowi and Grace Oladipo. So they will be, sharing their perspective as well on mental health. Grace Oladipo is a recent law graduate. She's a writer and the founder of The Inner Room. It's a worship movement that creates a space for the full expression of true worshipers. She expresses her passion for social entrepreneurship and education through the Student Collective, a mentoring initiative she co-founded, which brings university students and secondary school students together in Ireland. She's also an ambassador of the Global Purpose Enterprise and the student coordinator at the African Professional Network of Ireland. Ultimately, she seeks to put a smile on God's face in all that she does. Well, she's definitely putting a smile on my face as I read her bio. And Nengi is an MBA graduate from Dublin Business School. She's a singer, writer, and public speaker who has proven her character and desire to stand out in her generation despite all of the odds. She has volunteered with the National Youth Council of Ireland. She's contributed to policies affecting young people. She also got chosen again as a delegate to represent Ireland in Bulgaria in 2018. And alongside the sphere of policy making, she has also participated in other voluntary youth projects in Lebanon and India. She uses her voice as a public speaker to advocate for issues surrounding mental health. She has spoken in several events and conferences, including Interaction Council, where she represented the voices of young people in Ireland. Her speech at the Interaction Council was presented before former world leaders, including Bertie Ahern, Olusegun Obasanjo, and many others from Canada and other parts of the world. And she's a go-getter who believes in living life to the fullest. So Nengi and Grace will be giving us just a few minutes of their perspective on God, faith, and mental health. Enjoy. Thank you, guys.
Hey, Nengi.
Hi, Grace. How are you, girl? You're looking
I'm
good.
doing.
Oh my God.
What?
You're not wearing the same hat.
We are. Oh my goodness.
Did you
Great
plan
minds
that?
think alike.
Oh wow, nice.
How
I
are
like
you
it.
doing?
I'm good. Just on about the usual, working from home and all. Seems like life has changed.
Life has changed so much. Like I'm trying to maintain work-life balance, but like working from home really like can make you just work so hard. Like you'd be like, I'll log off at 6. No, you won't. So
I'm not sure it's that way for me. I think I just
Really?
miss having work colleagues to kind of like chat and joke with. It feels it's slightly lonely,
yeah.
I just think it's really lonely having to work and there is nobody around to talk to. You're just all by yourself.
Yeah.
It kind of have its implication on mental health. I say this
Yeah.
because I'm very, very big on mental health.
No, definitely. I think the pandemic in general has made me more reliant on my family and my friends.
Yeah.
I think kind of like what you touched on about loneliness, like it's definitely so easy to feel lonely and have to like feel very anxious, I think, about like the future about your job. I know so many people who have had to lose their jobs because of the pandemic, and just having to deal with this lockdown and then not working and not having like work meetings and things like that. It's definitely more difficult. How have you been feeling through this pandemic, apart from like the loneliness?
Yeah, I'm lucky to have a job. I actually, to be honest, I lost my previous job. And so I was out of work for a couple of months, and then I kept applying, which was kind of hard during the period of not having a job. You did mention anxiousness. I was a bit anxious. Will I get another job? Because people are losing jobs, girl. You just lost your job. Are you going to get another one? But yeah, God stepped in and I got another job that I'm doing from home. I have a job, so I can't really complain, but working from home on its own has its own downside. That's
definitely
that's just me being honest.
Definitely.
But yeah, it's been God all the way, my love.
How do you
Sorry, were you gonna say something?
No, definitely. No, I think when you said it's been God all the way, I think that's what keeps me sane, to be honest. But in terms of like, I guess lockdown and its impact on your mental health, how have you felt? Because for me, I've literally been like, how am I going to deal with this? I can't stay at home. I'm the type of person that I'll leave my house at 7 a.m. and get home at midnight. Like, that's me. And now I'm literally indoors all day. It's so jarring. But how has it impacted your mental health?
Yeah, it's tough, but at the same time, I think I'm on both sides. So I'm the type that will go out, I can spend time with friends, laugh, play, and all of that. At the same time, one person that like to be by my own self sometimes.
Right.
So I do like to read a lot. I'm writing a book, so that gives me, I feel like the period that's giving me extra time to actually catch up on projects that I would have been super busy with. So it's giving me time, fair enough. But yeah, I think I also miss the time with friends. I don't know. And I get to do more spiritual work. I'm a very, very God person. So before I was like, I don't have the time to read the Bible. Oh, I don't have the time for that. I don't have the time for that.
Now you don't have an excuse.
Yeah, so what's the excuse? That's like me, God saying to me like 2 days ago, oh, Nengi, you get 3 hours extra because you don't have to go to work. Because I would spend like 3 hours back and forth work, so an hour and a half going to work, an hour and a half coming back. So it was a question of, what are you not doing with the 3 hours? Only spare 30 minutes for me. I said, Lord, yes, definitely. But I think I spend a lot of the time committing myself to faith. Things that are going to develop my faith, because having God by my side throughout this pandemic, it's been the main thing that's kept me going.
100%.
There were periods where I was so scared that maybe the world is coming to an end. Maybe I'm never going to get another job. Or maybe something might happen to my family back home, because my family, they're back home in Nigeria. It's just having prayer in the middle of all of this that's really, really kept me going. Would that be the same for you?
No, definitely. I think through this pandemic, I have seen like God's hand more involved with my mental health and more involved with the things that actually concern me. And like, I think sometimes in church and as Christians, we separate God and mental health. But one of my favorite sayings is Jesus and therapy. Amen. Amen. Because the truth is, like, I don't understand. I think sometimes we feel like we can't feel things. And, like you said, the pandemic makes you so lonely. And then when you try to talk to someone about it, the person can be like, yes, but God is with you all the time. And I'm like, I get that. But I'm tired of hugging only my family. I want to hug other people.
I know. It's actually good you mentioned that, because I think a lot of faith-based people look at mental health treatment to be, okay, you've got God, you believe in the Bible, pray about it. So, girl, you need somebody to talk to. It's part of mental health. Emotional well-being requires you to talk. So if you're feeling lonely or you're scared of something, in addition to prayer, you need to talk, because talking helps you get certain things off your chest.
100%.
So don't get it twisted. It's good to have faith. It's good to have prayer. It's good to have the Bible. But there are other things you need to do on a day-to-day basis that will help with your emotional well-being. And that's, as you said, hugging as well is part of it. Sometimes
hugging is my favorite thing to do.
And
I think, honestly speaking, like when you think about faith, there is no way that faith and mental health are separated. In that, like when you go into the Bible, you see Prophet Elijah and how he said, ask God to kill him because he was overwhelmed. You see David and how he wrote poem upon poem about being sad. You see Jesus in the garden, and Jesus was saying, please, if I can avoid this situation of going to the cross, Father, Lord, let me do it. He cried until he was crying blood. Then we go to situations where we see like people who have gone through loss, like Ruth lost her father-in-law and her husband, and her mother-in-law was like, get away from me. I can't imagine how they must have felt, but I can imagine some of them being so depressed. Elijah was suicidal. Like, he was like, just let me leave this earth. And sometimes we think that these people are such great heroes of faith, but we can also relate to them because they struggled. They had mental health struggles. And that's why I think for me, my faith plays such a huge role in my mental health journey, because I can relate to these people, not because they were great people, but also because they had struggles that I struggle with. But I think one of the things I actually wanted to ask you is when did you first struggle with mental health? Have you ever struggled with your mental health?
Girl, I've been quite a lot.
Like, girl, don't ask.
I've been through and been through.
100%.
You know, funny enough, before now, whenever people talked about mental health, I remember my auntie trying to talk to me about, okay, taking care of yourself, emotional well-being and all of those. I'm like, you know what comes to my mind? People in the psychiatric hospital. So I'm like, ain't nobody got time for that. I got Jesus on my boat, so please put that back aside. But girl, life knocked me. Yeah. Life happened. I went through so much. I don't think we have that much time to be going into that much detail.
100%, yeah.
So much that I had to start learning about emotional well-being myself. I had to start learning tips. And I've always been a Christian, so don't get it twisted. I've always had God in the picture. But it came to a point where I needed God and I needed understanding of how to take care of myself.
Yeah.
So I was praying, but in addition to prayer and Bible study and all of those, I also needed to understand how my mind was working. And there's a Bible passage actually that kept me going. It says, all things work together for good. So I understood that Bible passage. But in addition to that, I also learned I learned how to do the right things. And one of those is talking to people about it, getting help. I started looking at for organizations that provide help on mental health. And one of those is Jigsaw. I found Jigsaw online. I joined. I started learning quite a lot on mental health and how to cope with challenges, resilience, taking care of your mind and all of those. That's really helped me.
Yeah,
no. I've been through a lot.
Gone through, up, down. I remember like thinking about this, and I remember the first time I realized that, like, you know, I was struggling with mental health was I almost jumped off a balcony when we went on a holiday in Italy. And I remember thinking back on that, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was just so sad and so overwhelmed. And do you know what it is? Like, sometimes it's not as deep as that. Sometimes you're just really, really sad and you can't explain why. Sometimes you're crying and you don't even know why you're crying. And to be honest, as a Christian, you still have those days when you're like, you don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to talk to anybody. Yeah. But yeah, one thing I've definitely learned is I don't even want to pray. I don't want to talk to God. But one thing I've learned is 100% what you said, like, always talking to someone. At my workplace, they offer free therapy, and I started going to therapy for the first time this year. And honestly, guys, it changes your life. Jesus changes your life too. Don't forget that. But it really changes everything. But talking to people has really helped me, and talking to my friends and just being honest with myself. Like, sometimes you don't even know how you feel. Yeah. But talking about it, someone else will probably tell you, like, this is why you feel this way, or they might not know the answer, but just having someone to listen to really changes everything, and looking after yourself. But I know we're almost done here. So any last thoughts, Nangi?
Yeah, just always have God in the picture, and completely, you need God, but you also need information on how your mind works. Yeah.
Definitely. I think looking after your mental health and being a Christian is not mutually exclusive. You can do both.
You need both.
So
you
need both. Jesus and therapy, guys.
Jesus and therapy anytime. Okay.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, Nangi.
Thank you so much for your time, guys. Catch up with you soon, girl. Bye.
Yes, me too.
Okay, that was another interesting conversation. And you know, as a very good student, I always love to take notes. Just in case some of you sitting at home didn't take notes, I did. And I think one of the things that Grace and Nengi really, probed on is a question that we probably all have somewhere in our minds. Questions like, is it okay to go for therapy? Is it okay to see a counselor? Is it okay to... But, while thinking about that question, I always ask myself, right? We don't make it a big deal when we go to see the doctor, right? You don't wait until you probably have eczema before you take a bath, right? You take care of your body. You know that it's a normal thing to take your bath every day. Why? Because it's care for your body. But probably because you don't see the consequences of not taking care of your mind physically, we feel that there's something wrong with that. But yeah, I think it never should be, faith or therapy. Don't you think it could be faith and therapy? I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but just food for thought. Okay, so at this point in our journey, as I love to call it, I'll be doing a poem. And I love the fact that my poem actually just flows from the conversation they had. And it's titled Leaving the Attic. I see you sitting in that attic without windows, flipping coins with only tails. Days you find it hard to be the head and not the tail. On this war front, you are losing the game of choice to the game of chance, to Hunger Games, breaking only the bread of invisible affliction. For when you are falling levels beneath the floor while trying to lift holy hands, are you multitasking or multi-masking? I am asking, for I see you imploding as you polish the next bomb. Your friends think you are doing fine. They say you are the bomb. But my dear, you are living in dark humor. It's a rumor that you've not been here before. No, you live here. With these voices making more connections with you than your neurons, a loveless affection when they say he that is in me is greater than he that is in the world. You hear they that are in me are greater than I who is in the world. You are scarred by the claws of this bipolar bear, chased by the clout of these imaginary friends. You are stretched, then shrunk by the stigma of being labeled less Christian, less spiritual, when you cannot take every thought captive. You were once captain, now they wonder how you became slave on your own ship. You feel shame for your suffering, and it does not go anywhere. So you learn to name it, give it a home, a root. You say its ancestors are your sins. Maybe not. I do not know why we sometimes suffer. But while we find the answers, while you are here and I am to break a piece of your bread, let me share in your affliction. For we will leave no man in Egypt. We will make a Red Sea from every teardrop till we cross over to the other side. I will not jump ship. I will be your fellow. Ship pillows to soften your suffering. Fellowship in your suffering. I will raise altars as I learn to listen and listen to learn. We will burn a patient sacrifice in this room. And we will do it again and again. We will clear the air of smoke screen till we find wise language in the writings on the wall, something to transcribe God's help. For if his hand is not short, then he will reach us both in bed or in therapy. Speak through donkey or doctor, through friend or pastor, through science and spirit. He was never God or your mind. He is the God who made your mind broken as it is. In a body dying daily, he is still potter to clay. So let us all hold you as he molds you. Let us serve your pain so you are distracted by our love and language. Do not sit in this attic any longer. Come down, take some air. Let God pour in peace and rest, joy through this tempest. He still makes rocking chairs from his wooden cross. He is the carpenter still. And we, his henchmen, your benchmen, will always be apprentice, your apprentice. this is the challenge with having, everyone watching from home, But I've loved to get some feedback from you guys, but I'm sure you've had a full evening. And I really want to say thank you to everyone who just came and poured so honestly, and who was just able to share part of their journeys with us to make this happen. Thank you so much to the amazing speakers, to Nengi Benstowi, to Grace Oladipo. Thank you to Open Circle. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much to the poets, Dagogo Hart, Fairly Speaks, and myself. Thank you also to Limit Breakers. Can we just give a round of applause to Mary and the Limit Breakers? It's really all about the atmosphere. If the atmosphere is not right, nothing can happen right, and they just held the atmosphere for us. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you to RCCG, Open Heavens, for giving us, this amazing venue and, everything that, we're able to use to make this happen. Thank you so much to the technical guys, Kingsley and Co-op there. You guys were amazing. Thank you to Mary. Mary was just with us throughout the planning for this. Thank you. And thank you to you guys watching at home, taking out time on this beautiful Sunday evening, to come just, fellowship with us, and deem it fit to enjoy poetry, enjoy worship, and enjoy these conversations that does not end here. It just begins here. We can't say everything in just an hour, but it just begins to start the conversation. Thank you so much. But most importantly, we thank God for the opportunity to be called His own. We thank Him for the gift of His Son. We thank Him for the gift of His presence that we have. The fact that, just like Limit Breakers sang, through special number to special number, He loves you, He cares for you, He knows everything that you're going through. He's touched by the feelings of your infirmity. So if you're going through stuff like we all are, find someone, speak to someone, and let's have these conversations every day, not just once in a while, not just once in a Sunday evening. And as we round up the evening, Limit Breakers would be doing one more song for us, and I hope you enjoy as we come to a close. My name is Samuel Yakura, and I am delighted to have hosted, and honored to have hosted this event. Thank you so much. All right, Limit Breakers, take it away.
Yeah. Who's getting ready to see something new? After nights like this, you can't remain the same. You just can't be the same. Are you ready? Eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard the kind of blessing that's about to fall on me. Come on. Victory is here. Kicks defeat out the door. God's doing a new thing. Get ready for overflow. I'm getting ready. To see something I've never seen. Something I've never seen. Said I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready to see something I've never seen. Something I've never seen. Take it away, sisters. Say.
Multi-million-dollar promotions for Pepsi, from food stamps to more ice cream.
I don't gotta talk, the Lord defends me. I watch them all fall for going against me. Cause me and all my angels shut the devil up. That you were trying to pull me down. I never.
I leveled up twice, I leveled up 3 times. Things have gone and told the cheese man. So even when I cried, I knew I'd be fine. Prepare for a miracle blessing.
I praise it, aim it, shame it, raise it. Everything that rises up against me, shame it. I bring success running out my tongue. Got the power, life and death running about my tongue. Oh.